members come up for a picture with the board and our PTA reps.
Right here, guys.
Yeah. Or we could do it over here too.
Sure.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Christina, and thank you, Dana, for a great presentation. And we're going to recognize some other outstanding individuals. And these are people that help our students now with our recognition of our foster grandparent program. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Ciapetta. The Foster Grandparent Program is a national program established in 1965 for the purpose of pairing senior citizens with students to enhance the quality of life of children and youth in preschools and public school settings. Grandparents involved with the program have a caring manner that can provide just the right amount of motivation to a student. Sometimes it's just a warm smile and tender words that can make a difference between a sad day and a happy one. And they have their own set of strategies to improve students' performance. The district's foster grandparent program currently has 6 South Huntington grandparents who provide support in reading, assist with projects, games, and assist with daily classroom routines. We are grateful to these caring individuals who provide encouragement, help, and support with a tenderness that only a grandparent can provide. At this time, it's my pleasure to recognize Fran Zito and Virginia Ginny Gagino, who work with our students in Countrywood, Nancy Hodson and Barbara Mead, who work with our students in Oakwood, and finally, Diane Vinci and Francis D. Simone, who work with our students at Birchwood. Please join me in a round of applause for these individuals for donating their time. Now I'd ask you to please come join us in the front here with Mr. Ciapetta and myself so we can recognize you.
All right, and our third order of business is a presentation on 2 new district apps that is going to make life very convenient for everyone. And to tell us a little bit more about them, I'm going to introduce our Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Education, Amanda Kavanaugh.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have with us Mr. Kevin Campson. Mr. Campson is the founder and CEO of the company called Move. He will be here tonight to explain an application that he has developed especially for South Huntington School District. Mr. Campson.
Hello, everyone. My name's Kevin. I'm really excited to be here. And yeah, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm an app developer. Before I jump into that, I just wanted to say thank you, especially to the people in this room. As an entrepreneur, I've gotten a lot of doors slammed in my face, metaphorically and maybe literally. But I first approached Dr. Dalia. I had one school district, and that was Smithtown. I went to Smithtown West. Now that I've lost all respect for going to Smithtown, I'm not here. I soon met with Dr. Murphy and Dr. Rice after that, and these are not door slammers. These are door openers, and they've really let me in. And we're now in 15 districts across Long Island. We're going into Texas and Oregon, and I'll wrap up with that. But I wanted to say thank you so much for letting me in. So. Getting into the app. This is the new South Huntington Districts app. It puts everything in one place. So I was a recent student. From a student's perspective, it's really hard to find things going on during the day, whether it's like a lunch menu or sports schedules. And from a parent's perspective as well, it's really hard to find out what's going on. So this app takes all of those things and puts them into one place. So you can kind of get a sense for what this looks like, but I'll take you through it real quick. So to start off, it's just got a greeting. It's got the weather for the day, just a quote. So just some simple stuff just to make it a little more engaging, a little easier to jump into every single day. Here you're seeing you can directly launch into important apps. So you're seeing Parent Square here. You would tap that and you would go directly into that app. And once you're logged in, you don't even have to do that. You just hop right into that app. So it's really convenient. All of your things are right there. It's also personalized, so it knows if you're a student, a parent, or a community member, and it would basically change the app based on that. So you'd see Student Square if you're a student, Parent Square if you're a parent. It translates, which is really cool too, and it auto-translates, so it actually detects your system's language. If your phone is in Spanish, it will come through in Spanish. You don't even have to type that in. So super quickly, I'll take you through creating an account. You download the app. We have a QR at the end, but that's also a link. And on the left, you're seeing just kind of going through this sign-up process. So you'd enter your email, you put your name in here, and then you make a password. And after you do that, well, this is an overview. So step one, I just showed you a name, email, password. Step two is choosing which type of user, if you're a student, a staff member, a parent, or community member. And then the third step would be selecting general shuffs to app.
And just a question on that. So can anyone download the app?
Right, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And do you get different access depending upon whether you're a student, staff, or community member, or?
Staff will have special privileges. Right now, it's just general for everybody. Down the line, it'll differentiate based on access, but right now, it's basically the same for everybody.
Okay. So somebody in Utah, if they wanted to follow their grandkids, they could download the app?
Right, correct.
Okay.
As a community member and just see
Okay.
the links and such.
And the district doesn't have to give them prior permission to do so?
Right.
Okay.
But it could also be configured anyway. This is something that's very easily manipulated. Well, these were the icons, so it's cool. It'll actually change to the globe for South Huntington here. So you're seeing iOS and Android. Really quickly, I just wanted to take the last part of this to talk about the app called Move, which is the company that I founded. And we're launched at Walt Whitman, and we're rolling into Stimson and Silas as well. It's really cool. You're seeing on the left here, these are seniors at Walt Whitman. This is one saying that she was in 3 clubs and now she's in 6, just from kind of understanding what's out there. The app puts everything in one place, and it's really for students to see what's going on. We're making school fun, so we do some competitions. You're seeing in the middle some students there. And then really quickly to wrap up with that, we do this really cool thing with attendance. So this is a magic poster, and you tap your phone on this poster to take attendance for extracurriculars, not to distract with that, but that's a cool feature of the app. That's for another day. But this is our poster. So You'll be seeing these around, and that's a QR to download the app. Just gives kind of another visual to it, and you could scan that to download the app. So.
And we've rolled this out or tested it in the high school so far. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
So this is brand new. The Move app is at Walt Whitman High School, but this general app is launching right now.
And Dr. Murphy, how has it been used so far?
It's been utilized for a lot of, mainly for our clubs, as you mentioned, the attendance piece, so we're able to take accurate attendance for parents and staff members of who's going to what clubs. It also allows us to know which clubs are being popular, which ones we should reevaluate. So it's been a big thing for that, and also the communication piece and sharing some of the activities that we do at the high school, whether it's a game, a club activity, anything that goes on socially at the high school.
So the expectation is the students should have it on their phone then to check in, or?
Yes, I think we're at somewhere around 70 or 80% of our students have the Move app on it.
Oh, wow, excellent, okay. Questions from the board?
No, I had the same question you did in regards to access.
Okay. Excellent.
You know, you would think in 2024 there would be many districts that have an app, and in my conversations with Kevin, not many do. So yeah, we're one of the first ones. But it's the real advantage of all this, especially with the community app, is that you have everything all in one place, and we're going to continue to work on it, upgrade it, improve it as time goes on. But if the board is good with this, we plan on sending it out pretty shortly to invite our community to download.
Cool. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you. Great. Thank you, Dr. D'Elia, for bringing this to us. All right. And we have a second app presentation on TransFinder.
No, we just one.
Oh.
We're gonna save that for another time.
Oh, we are? Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. We don't have a second presentation.
We do. Yeah, another one.
Oh, yes, we do. Only one app, though. All right, Mr. Conway, you always have to follow something exciting, so
Yeah, no small task. Welcome everyone to the fourth budget presentation tonight. This is a budget adoption this evening. So the budget theme for the district the last several months has been first and foremost continued focus on student support. Obviously, we're looking to strive to give the students everything they need in terms of resources and opportunities for them to find what drives them and make them successful. To do that, that ties into sustaining the program offerings that we continue to constantly look at, analyze, and offer to them, and then further enhancements to overall facilities, safety, security, things of that nature. All right, so in a few short words, what is South Huntington? It's about the kids, the staff, and last but not least, the community. We want the kids and staff to feel welcome and excited to be here each day, but we also want their families to feel part of the district, part of the community, and join us at many of the events pretty much 7 or 8 days a week. State aid reality. So I wish we had some more definitive information here. Right now, the numbers we're working with in this budget are the executive proposal numbers from back in January. Excuse me, the state was supposed to have their budget around April 1st. That deadline has come and gone. And there are talks that as of last night, they have come to somewhat of a handshake deal. But in terms of what that looks like in terms of actual dollars and cents for all school districts, it is still up in the air. So right now, the numbers up on the screen, the foundation aid, we're looking at $54.8 million for next year. The expense-based aids of 20.8, and that's the things we've spoken to the last couple months, where it's you spend money in 1 year and you get a percentage of that back in the following year, and that relates to things such as transportation expenses, BOCES, building aid, things of that nature. Then we have the universal pre-kindergarten aid of that $1,794,000. That's money from the state, but it's accounted for in the federal fund, so it is not part of our day-to-day budget and the operating activities. For that, it's really the top two numbers of foundation and expense-based aids, which is $75.7 million. The final legislative budget, as I've just spoken to, we should hopefully see those numbers soon. And a point worth noting here is throughout this process at the state level, the governor has made it clear that what she's looking to do is set up a task force during this upcoming year to take a look at the foundation aid formula itself. What that looks like at this point is anybody's guess, but that is something they are actively looking at. So our revenue expectations for the upcoming year. Right now, you'll see at the top number tax levy of 126.6 million. So right now, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to hand this over to the board for them to discuss and ultimately set the tax levy for the upcoming year. But the number there of 126 million represents a 2.4% levy. The reason we came up with that as our working point was it was the average of the levies for the 3 years before COVID. So it gave us a good starting point. Moving on is the state aid number, the 75.7 I just spoke to. Then we have the other revenues of $10.7 million, and that's made up of things such as our district billing other districts for health services provided, interest income, property rental income, employee contributions to health insurance, things of that nature. And in the reserve and fund balance usage, I'll get into that a little later on. That ties into a total revenue picture of $217.5 million. Our use of reserves, we're looking this year for $1,600,000 to come from the EBLR reserve. That is, what that's used for is retirement and terminal leave pay for people that leave the district. And of course, it's a goal of ours to replenish these reserves at the end of the fiscal year wherever possible. So year over year with that $1.6 million number, it is a decrease year to year of about $380,000. Right now, a little caveat there is that note in yellow. From the November database that was given to all districts versus the January governor's proposal, we're potentially exposed for about $750,000 that may or may not come. So at this point in time, just to be conservative, we put that $750,000 into the reserves within that 1.6 million. It's the intention, once we do finally see the numbers, if that revenue does come back to the district in terms of state aid, we would have the revenue as aid and then no longer use that piece of the reserve usage. Regarding fund balance, this is the rainy day fund, you could say. We are allowed by law to keep up to 4%. So as of June of 23, we closed at 3.88%, roughly $8.1 million. And you'll see year to year, we have decreased our dependence on that by $200,000. So that too is going in a positive direction. Regarding transportation, that's a department we have a lot of focus and attention on. It's headed by our transportation supervisor, Laura Brothers. And for the budget development in front of you right now, we have about $1.25 million earmarked for the purchases of new bus. And right now we're looking to buy 6 vans and 4 66 passenger buses. And that's looking to replenish and modernize the fleet overall to try to make us more and more self-reliant. Switching gears over to facilities. Within the budget is also $1.2 million for day-to-day operations, service, repair contracts, waste removal, things like that. And also within the budget, as proposed by the facilities committee to the board, is a transfer to capital of $4 million. Right now, you'll see the projects we have listed here is boilers at the high school, as well as science room and renovations and cafeteria renovations at the high school. Over at Silas Wood, we're looking to do some door replacement, ground and facilities repairs, as well as gym floor resurfacing. And jumping over to Stimson Middle School, looking to put some money into repairing that breezeway. That's a unispan you'll see connecting both sides of the building, as well as replacement of the gym floor. And last but not least, we have Memorial. That is the building we own over on Pigeon Hill Road next to the library. Obviously, since we do own it, we have to be mindful of what that needs. So one of the first items there is the sump repair. The district actually owns a sump on that property. And the last 6 or 8 months, as we've seen these torrential rains become more and more common, it's become aware that the sump, as it's working now, is no longer holding up. So we have to put some money into repairing and restoring out to protect both our property as well as the community and the residents that live right in that surrounding area. We're also looking to add some scoreboards at Memorial Field for athletics, removal of the tennis courts, which are well beyond their useful life, and then some bathroom and general allocations to that building there. Okay, I'm not sure how clear this is to see, but just to run through some numbers that we've spoken about. The left column is the 24-25, that's the proposal in front of us tonight. The next column over is 23-24, the year we're living in. Then the last two columns is both the dollar change and the percentage change. So the top number there again is the tax levy, and for purposes of this presentation, we've gone with an assumption of a 2.4% or 126 million. But again, the board will discuss that at the end of this presentation. The state aid number of 75.7, and then the other revenue of 10.7, which are the items I spoke to a moment ago. Moving down, you'll see the reserve and fund balance usage of 1.6, and then 2.7. And if you look to the third column on both of those, it's really a good trend to see that between the fund balance and reserves, we're decreasing our reliance on them almost by $600,000. And again, depending on how that state aid comes in, it could be even further. So the total revenue side, which obviously has to match the expenditure side, is $217.5 million. It's a dollar-to-dollar increase in the budget of $8.4 million, or 4.04%. And I just want to highlight that that 4.04% is the expense side budget. It is nothing to do with the tax levy itself. Jumping over to the estimated tax rate, you'll see on the left side of the screen the years. Then the next column over is the assessed valuation, and that number comes to us from the town in the early fall, usually around September. So what we're trying to do here in the effort to be transparent is come up with that estimated assessed value, that $42,289,000. That's just our best guesstimate or conservative estimate based on trend analysis and looking back at history. And then the tax levy of $126 million, that's again within this presentation. What that equals is per $1,000 of assessed value of everyone's house, it would be a dollar amount of $29.9437, or an annual increase of about $87 per 1,000 of assessed valuation. So the bottom 5 columns, it's just meant to give you a snapshot. I mean, obviously, the town is the one that sets the assessed value of all the properties in the community, so everyone's home is different. But if we were to look at the left, just for example, if your home was assessed at an assessed value of $2,300, the dollar amount per month would increase approximately $16.75 based on this proposed budget. Okay, this slide here is just simply a recap of what I just spoke to. Looking at a proposed dollar increase of 8.4 million, or 4.04%. Again, dollar budget increase, not the levy. As I switch over to the levy conversation, so right now the maximum levy the district is allowed for next year based on a formula is 3.42%. That equals approximately $4.2 million of new money into the district. But for tonight's presentation, what we've put in the presentation is a 2.4%, which is roughly $2.9 million. So for example, in this scenario, should that be what is ultimately adopted, it would be a savings to the taxpayer of approximately $1.2 million. At this point, I'd like to turn the presentation over to the board for their discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Conway, and thank you for the information. Very thorough and concise presentation. And right now is discussion on the tax levy. The board will be voting on the actual budget later on, which is $217 million and change. But right now, a discussion of what we want the tax levy to be. And for convenience sake, Mr. Conway provided us with different levy amounts. And you know, the levy really controls everything. The less you raise the levy, then that means the more you have to cut or take out of reserves. And the higher it is, then the less you have to do of that. Also, in previous years, you know, we've been trending a little up. In 2022, 2023, we were very fortunate. We kept the levy flat. We had an influx and bonanza of state aid that year. This year, not quite the case. Prior to that, though, we've been in the 2 range, and between 18, 19, and present, you know, we were averaging. The 3 years prior to our flat, we were averaging in the 2s. So, want to get the board's thoughts on where to set the tax levy for the next year. Anyone like to give some thoughts? Yes. Ms. Meyer.
Yeah, Mr. Joyner and I also had a question which we can come back to, but it was curious to see that the projected assessed value of the homes based on the town's records is going to go down significantly. Do you have any insight into that, Mr. Ciapetto or Mr. Conway?
It pretty much goes down every single year because it's based on, you know, when people grieve their taxes, they may win, but the community loses. So it really can never go up unless you have new building. And we don't have any new building in South Huntington.
Okay.
You know, we're pretty much all of our land is filled, with the exception of maybe a couple large parcels, you know, like the former West Hills Day Camp. So pretty much every year it's been going down. I think normally we do 250 we budget at, that we expect it to go down. The last few years it hasn't gone down as much as projected, which is a good thing. And then in September, when we officially adopt the tax rate, it gets changed in there. But I think they give a cushion of 250.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it never goes really up. We'd have to have some kind of large building come in that we don't otherwise have. But as somebody agrees their taxes, right, their assessed valuation is changing, so everybody else has to pick up for that. So if
Okay.
I agree with my taxes, I may get a discount, but then we have a shortfall elsewhere that needs to be made up and spread among the rest of the property owners in the district.
Okay, thank you
make
for
sense?
that, Mr. Ciappetta. So that notwithstanding, based on Mr. Conway's assessment and analysis and what we need to achieve and maintain our district goals, I'd like to suggest that we discuss moving forward with the proposed 2.4%.
What does everybody think about that? Mr. Bronson?
Yeah, no, I think it's, I think as Mr. Conway said, we actually have the ability to go up to 3.4, but we're trying to balance, I mean, the inflationary impact affects the district, but also affects all of the residents in the community and taxpayers. So I think we're trying to find that happy median where, again, we can support the district, but also be mindful not to raise it to the full amount, because again, I think we're all being impacted by inflation right now. So I would support the 2.4.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bronson. Yeah, in the last 3 years, actually, we've gone under the allowable levy each year. The 3 years prior, we were right at the levy. So if we go under the levy of the max levy this year, that would be the 4th consecutive year that we've gone under the max levy. Other thoughts on the board? Mr. Biangasso?
Yeah, I concur with the 2.4%. I think we're all seeing the effects of inflation and the fact we can go up to 3.4. I think we need to find this happy balance, and I think the 2.4 allows us to do that, where we're not passing the max we can onto the taxpayer, but still we're maintaining that twos, and especially because we had those couple of years where we're lucky, where we remained flat. I think that's reasonable.
Okay. Other thoughts? Ms. LaCarrie, you good? Okay. And so we'll move forward with that. Mr. Conway, that gives you some direction on that.
Okay, thank you very much to each of you. The next slide here, proposition number 2. So the first proposition that you will see is the budget itself, the numbers. Proposition number 2, Mr. Ciappetta, spoke to this last month. I will let him speak to it a little bit further, but I just want to highlight before he jumps into it that this proposition has no impact on either the budget or your taxes. So I'd like to pass this off.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Conway. In fact, the proposition helps us with the taxes because we have quite a bit of capital work that needs to be done. And if we don't do Proposition 2, which simply reallocates money that is set aside in the capital fund, then we would need to probably spend more through our operating budget. A couple of years ago, the district sold a number of properties, including the former teen center, the old library, and some property on Melville Road behind Staples. And we put that money into a capital reserve fund, and now we're asking the voters to approve the use of that money, which is not to exceed $2.5 million, which was originally slated for the deconstruction of the portables and construction of new library media stream centers, which is costs have gone up and is not affordable any longer. So repurpose that instead for the replacement of the 2 north boilers at Walt Whitman High School. If you were following along with the presentation, you saw some of the capital projects that we were doing before, and Mr. Conway had $900,000 allocated for the north boilers, but the boilers are actually much more expensive than that. That's just the portion that's going through the operating budget. The boilers are nearly $3.5 million to replace the 2 in Walt Whitman High School North. So boilers are incredibly expensive, as you can see. It's not necessarily a project to be excited about, but it's necessary if we want to keep the heat on. So we're going to ask the voters to vote on a second proposition to authorize the Board of Education to reallocate $2.5 million to replace the north boilers at Walt Whitman High School.
Okay, thank you very much. So goals for the upcoming year. The district is going to continue and always strive for excellence. We want our staff and our students to constantly push themselves to become better students, better learners. And to do that, we have to provide them with the opportunities to meet both the academic as well as the social emotional needs of them. Where applicable, we want to always look to identify and close achievement gaps. And part of that entails looking at programs, identifying the appropriate programs, if relevant and if applicable, to expand those. We always look to strengthen community partnerships. We have the relationship right now with Northwell Health. It's relatively inexpensive and it helps a lot of our families. So anything that new that comes to the table, we are always happy to entertain. All of this has the common theme of fiscal sustainability. Obviously, we want to do all this with a mindful approach of our finances. And last but not least, to offer the safety and security to our students as well as the upkeep of our facilities and grounds. We want the campus of all of our schools to feel inviting, pleasant place to be, and a happy place for the students. And the last slide here is just simply a short list of the upcoming dates. On May 7th, it'll be our next budget meeting, it'll be the public hearing of the budget, excuse me. And on May 21st, it all concludes with the budget vote itself. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the board?
Questions for Mr. Conway? Thank you, Mr. Conway. Great job tonight and during the budget process. I know as you're just getting used to this role and you're doing a great job. Also, you have to be very nimble and flexible because while the state is supposed to adopt their budget by April 1st, the last several years they have not. But we are required to adopt our budget by today, and we will and we must. Which puts us always in a difficult position because we're still waiting to find out exactly how much state aid we're going to get. We were not getting as much state aid as we expected because the governor moved around some of the numbers with foundation and inflationary factors. And so, you know, we're operating under the hope that we'll receive that money back, but there's no guarantees because while they have what they call a framework potential handshake deal, they haven't told us what those numbers mean for us yet. So, okay. Oh, and just one other thing on the facilities that we mentioned before. Mr. Conway highlighted the Walden High School science classroom renovation, which is part of the project, but also it's actually a necessity because the gas in those rooms has been shut off and we haven't been able to use them. So we have to fix the gas problem. We actually have to rip up the entire rooms, which is unfortunate, but there's no other way to fix it. Okay. That concludes our presentations for tonight, and we'll move into our business agenda, which has a number of items as well. I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda. Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Any questions on the agenda? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Items E through H require one resolution for adoption. Is there a motion? Mr. Scragg, and seconded by Mr. Biangasso. Any questions on E through H? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. We have a couple of communications. We have an invitation to the Board of Education to watch the Oakwood Primary Proudly Presents ARF on April 18th and the Kindness Cafe at 6 p.m. So if you want to attend, you can see the ARF play, which looks cute. And then another invitation, this one from the town of Huntington, to celebrate Juneteenth on Saturday, June 22nd at Manorfield Park. I believe last year was at Hexerfield, but also a good event. Okay, moving on to our new business. We have new business item number 1, which is an approval for the Western Suffolk BOCES administrative budget. This is something that we have to vote on every year, and we must do it on April 16th. That's why we meet on a Tuesday. Is there a motion? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Bronson. Any questions on the operating budget? All in favor? Any opposed? And that's something that all districts that are part of Western Suffolk BOCES contribute towards. And so most districts are having their meetings tonight. All right, moving on to item number 2, our vote on the Western Suffolk BOCES board candidates. Motion. Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Bronson. And so we have 3 candidates for 3 seats on the BOCES Board of Education. One is Robert Scheid of West Babylon, who is nominated by the North Babylon Board of Education. And then we have Mary Ellen Cunningham of Lindenhurst. And then a little closer to home, we have Debbie Adams Caden, who is been nominated by a number of districts for a term to replace her husband on the BOCES Board of Education. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to item number 3, adoption of the 2024-2025 budget. Is there a motion? Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Bronson. This is the culmination of all our work over the last couple months, and the board is looking to adopt a budget of $217,524,666. Any questions on the budget? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, and moving on to, so that will, the board is done with the budget, and we'll be moving on to the, we have a public hearing on May 7th, and then the public vote on the 21st. Moving on to item number 4 is the adoption of the report card for 24-2025. Motion. Mr. Biangasso, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Mr. Conway.
Thank you, Mr. Cepeda. So tonight for the board's approval is the approval of the 24-25 property tax report card as required by law. It's essentially a side-by-side snapshot of the current year's budget versus the proposed budget. It also provides a recap of the reserves we are proposing to use in the 24-25 budget as well.
Okay, any questions on the report card? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we're moving on to item number 5. We have 2 student disciplinary appeals, and the first one is on a vote on the appeal of a suspension and a vote to deny the suspension. Is there a motion? Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Biangasso. So take a vote on voting to deny the suspension. What? Deny the suspension? Excuse me, deny the appeal. Deny the appeal. Thank you. So, all in favor of denying the appeal? Any opposed? Okay. Thank you for the correction. Thank you. Moving on to item number 6, we have a second student disciplinary appeal. I'll take a motion to discuss. Motion, Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Scragg. Any questions? This item, as well as the previous item, was discussed in executive session at length, and we'll take any further questions? And we'll take a vote then. Vote in the affirmative is to deny the appeal. All in favor of the denial? Any opposed? Okay. We have new business item number 7, which was a request to remain in South Huntington for 4 students, also discussed in executive session. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Joyner. This was discussed in executive session. Any further comment? All right, and so this is a request to remain. So all in favor of approving the request to remain? Mr. Bronson and Ms. Meyer. All opposed? Mr. Biangasso, Mr. Scragg, Ms. LaCara, and Mr. Joyner. Okay, the request to remain fails 2-5. Ms. Caliendo, if you can notify the family, please. Moving on to new business item number 8, approval of Board of Education meeting dates for 24-2025. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Biangasso and Mr. Scragg. We have our meeting dates for 2024-2025. And we actually did a 14-month calendar this year to get, because you'll notice when your calendar goes home, you never have the August or July meeting dates on there. So we've done a 14-month calendar. Couple noteworthy things. We had to add an additional meeting in August to conduct some more business, and we have one meeting in December on a Tuesday, which is designed to coincide with the 100th anniversary of the school district. So very exciting. And then our budget vote next year will be on Tuesday, May 20th, and our last meeting of the school year would be on June 17th. And then, as I said, we're doing a wraparound calendar, so we have meetings scheduled for July of 2025 and August of 2025. All right, questions on the calendar? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to new business item number 9. Approval of the administration for the budget vote. Motion. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Dr. D'Elia.
Yes, this resolution is for the appointment of election officials for the May 21st budget vote and elections. Also, the Suffolk County Board of Elections requires certified inspectors to work the ballot scanning devices. So many of these individuals happen to be part of the South Huntington School District, employees from the OSA bargaining unit. So in order to have this election, we need people to help and make it happen.
Great. Any questions? Ms. Meyer, your question?
Yeah, just a question about the budget vote in general. During a previous meeting, Mrs. Caliendo had facilitated a meeting that demoed some new technology for people checking in. Will we be moving forward with that for this year's budget? Okay, great, thank you.
Excellent, great question. And that, so that's a different way of registering. People that be registering now on the iPads, Ms. Caliendo? Great, thank you. Okay, any further questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Moving on to item number 10 is the approval of replacement election workers. Motion. Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Dr. DeLee again?
Yes, this is in the event that if we have an unfortunate experience of election officials not being able to work on May 21st, we do need some backups and some substitutes, and this would provide for that.
Okay. Questions, Dr. D'Elia? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution adopted unanimously. Moving on to new business, item number 9 are seeker approvals for various capital projects. This is part 2. We did a part 1 at the last meeting. Is there a motion? Mr. Biangasso, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Mr. Conway.
Thank you, Mr. Iapetta. So tonight for the board's approval is a CEQA resolution for multiple projects as just presented in the budget overview tonight. This CEQA is in addition to the one approved at the prior board meeting. These projects have been deemed by our architects to be type 2 projects, therefore deemed to have no significant impact to the environment. And the one for tonight before you is the sump renovations, bathroom renovations, memorial scoreboards, the breezeway, gym floor, and south cafeteria. The other items were done previously.
Great, thank you, Mr. Conway. Any questions, Mr. Conway? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to item 12, we have a series of approvals for health services agreement. We'll have Mr. Conway explain the first, and then we'll run through the rest. Item 12, is there a motion? Mr. Bronson, seconded by Mr. Biangasso. Mr. Conway?
Sure, thank you again. Before the board tonight is approval for various contracts between South Huntington and several of the districts where we bill one another for health services provided to students in their district who reside here and vice versa.
Okay. Great, and item 12, the first one is between South Huntington and Brentwood. All in favor? Any opposed? Moving on to resolution 13, approval of the same between South Huntington and Half Hollow Hills. Is there a motion? Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Joyner. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. New business 14, same type of agreement, this time between South Huntington and Uniondale. Motion. Mr. Scraggs, seconded by Mr. Biangasso. All in favor? Any opposed? Moving on to new business 15, same agreement between South Huntington and Sachem. Is there a motion? Ms. LaCaris, seconded by Ms. Meyer. All in favor? Any opposed? New business 16, approval of a health service agreement between South Huntington and Syosset Central School District. Motion. Mr. Biangasso, seconded by Mr. Joyner. All in favor? Any opposed? And new business 17, approval agreement between South Huntington Valley Stream Central High School School District. Motion. Mr. Joyner, seconded by Mr. Scragg. All in favor? Any opposed? And new business 18, last one, approval of agreement between the South Huntington School District and the Tuckahoe Central School District at Southampton. Motion. Interesting. Mr. Biangasso, seconded by Ms. LaCara. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Moving on to new business, item number 19 is the approval for our school lunch manager to attend the National School Nutrition Conference. Is there a motion? Mr. Scraggs, seconded by Ms. Meyer. Mr. Conway.
Thank you, Mr. Iapetta. Tonight for the board's approval is a request that our school lunch director, Ms. Sheila Busey, be able to attend the School Nutrition 2024 National Conference. This year the conference will be held in Boston. It's an annual conference she attends to be brought up to speed on the most current information with the school district and the cafeteria program. This cost is approximately $2,900 and will be funded from the school lunch program, not the general fund.
Okay. Where is the conference this year?
Boston.
Nice. Excellent. Okay. Good. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, and we're moving on to item number 20 is the approval of a confidential personnel agreement, a stipulation of settlement, matter discussed in the executive session. I'll take a motion to table. Ms. LaCara, seconded by Mr. Biancasso and Mr. Scragg. All in favor of the motion to table new business 20? Any opposed? New business item 20 is tabled. Moving on to new business item 21, approval of an out-of-state field trip, National Junior Honor Society. Take a motion. Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Joyner. Ms. Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Ciapetta. For the board's approval tonight, we have an out-of-state field trip request for the National Junior Honor Society to head to Six Flags in New Jersey on Friday, June 21st. This would be 200 students and 20 chaperones.
Excellent. Good. Oh, wow.
That's fancy.
Okay. Pupils are dilating. Any questions on the Great Adventure Trip? No. All in favor? Any opposed? Moving on to new business item 22, approval of obsolete items. Is there a motion? Oh, Mr. Biancasso, seconded by Ms. Meyer. Ms. Kavanaugh again.
Thank you so much. Again, for the board's approval tonight, we have a list of just one item to be declared obsolete from the IT department due to end of life for the materials.
Okay. Usually we have pages and pages, so
Yes,
very short. Good.
that is true.
Questions on the item declared obsolete? All in favor? Any opposed? And moving on to 23, request for approval of donated items to the Birchwood Intermediate School. Motion. Ms. Meyer, seconded by Mr. Scragg and Mr. Bronson. Dr. DeLeo.
Okay, we have a very generous donation on behalf of Residio Technologies. Mr. Nikio Averts is donating gently used office furniture to Birchwood. The donation consists of 7 nesting tables, 14 office chairs, and 3 whiteboards. And Mr. Bernadelle has indicated that he'd like to use these items for his stream classroom. And we have a approximate value in total of $4,000.
Excellent. Okay. Great. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? New business 23 is adopted unanimously. Moving on to new business 24, recommendations for the placements of students by the Committee on Special Education and the Committee on Preschool Special Education, various dates listed in January, February, March, and April. Motion. Mr. Scragg, seconded by Mr. Biancasso. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we've reached the end of the new business agenda. Moving on, a lot of new business. Moving on to personnel, we have personnel schedules 2, 3, 6, 9, 11, 13, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, and 22. Motion to adopt the schedules, or to discuss, excuse me. Mr. Bronson, seconded by Ms. LaCara. Any questions on these schedules? All in favor? Any opposed? Personnel schedules are adopted. Information and reports are listed. We have no committee reports as of yet. Mr. Joyner, would you like to discuss Lobby Day, though?
Good evening, everyone. So about 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go up to Albany to represent our district for Lobby Day. And while there, I had the opportunity to speak at a press conference in regards to repealing or closing some loopholes in a recent law of 2020 on the Juul of e-flavored cigarettes sale. And so what that entails is that in 2020, there was a major lawsuit that was imposed upon Juul to actually eradicate or sales of e-flavored cigarettes in our state. So what happened now is that, unfortunately, it's still going on. So right now, our kids are able to purchase these products that are not to be sold in retail shops by a back doorway, which is the retailers have these products available in a how can I say, a cupboard area or a shelf or a space, and it's listed as not for sale because within the law, they are able to sell outside of the, New York State. But what they're doing, they're actually selling these items to kids, which are being used in various places such as our school. It's been a big problem that continues to grow in our school district. And we have legislation that is here now. So on behalf of our school district, National School Boards, New York State School Boards Association, and a number of not-for-profit groups, we had a press conference to call to sound the alarm about this, and also to garner support through our elected leaders in both the Congress and also the Assembly in regards to this. I had the opportunity to meet with our Assemblyman Steve Stern, which was he's a proponent of the bill. We're trying to advocate to have more legislators become sign on as advocates. So it's the state 8531 Hoylman Sigel and 8910 Rosenthal bill that is being proposed to be added to the budget to eliminate all the loopholes that exist where children are able to access these products and retailers are able to sell these products through local stores within our neighborhoods. As part of the outing that day, people, I should say, lobbyists from different campaigns came out and they were able to purchase these products a couple of blocks from our Capitol. So they were able to walk into a store, it's not advertised, and they was able to see a cabinet that said not for sale and ask for these products and be able to receive them. And the alarming thing is that, the alarming fact is that you should note is that these products are being sold with the flavors of candy, the flavors of sour apple, in packages that look like cereal boxes or little, I didn't have a picture of it here, but I'm gonna put that online as well. They're very attractive to kids and they induce the ability for them to become addicted to nicotine, which turns out to be a lifelong struggle. I mean, there's various health conditions that are evolved from this, popcorn lung, so many other ailments. And I think the recent data that we have is that one out of every 4 students in New York State does participate with e-flavored cigarettes or its derivatives. So we'll be sounding the alarm and continuing to work with our legislators to actually to join this and to close these loopholes because the problem continues to increase and the availability of it is still rampant. So that was the crux of what that lobby day was about. And we had the opportunity to meet with a number of elected officials across New York State. So it wasn't just our local ones. We met with everyone who was available that day. So it was a very interesting day of lobbying, and there'll be more to come on this as we continue to work on these issues.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Joyner, for bringing us up to date on this. Anything that we need to do? Should we write a letter as a board? Any recommendations?
I'll be, and by the next meeting, I'll be providing some recommendations based upon some work that's being done with NISBA and some others.
Okay,
but
great.
we do have, send around a memorandum of support, which you can use to actually expedite to your elected officials right now before we, you can do that in lieu of us making our statement on it, which will be forthcoming, I
You
should
want to
say.
share that with Ms. Caliendo? That'd be great.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for bringing this issue to light.
Yeah.
Okay, future meetings are listed. May 7th is our next. As I mentioned before, it's a public hearing of the budget. And then May 21st will be the budget vote. Our board meeting coincides with that. We'll also be recognizing the Michael Curtin Citizenship Award winners. Comments by board members? Mr. Biancasso.
I just wanted to commend the drama department of Whitman for the production this past week of Mamma Mia. Like a lot of people in this room got to see it, and I have to tell you, and Jaron, you were fabulous, by the way. It was better than a lot of plays I've actually seen locally and on Broadway. I'm being honest, it was a first-rate production. It was a fun night, and just congratulations to all. I could see all the hard work that went into it. And there's so many nights like this that we highlight the best our district has to offer, and this was no exception.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Scragg.
Well, it's that time of year to lace up your running shoes and get out in the nice weather. Coming up on May 18th, we're having our annual Chef in Motion 5K run or walk, however you want to do it. Sign up is now available on chefinc.com. For those of you that don't know, Chef stands for South Huntington Educational Foundation, and we exist to help students in the arts, in dance, and in music. One of our projects that was completed this year was the art gallery right outside the PAC, where students can display their artwork. And so we raise money throughout the year and throughout the years for these big projects, and then we donate the money or the supplies, whatever is needed to support our students in these areas. Very, very important for our kids to be able to express themselves creatively. I'm coming from an artist and a musician. I fully support this, and I'm proud to be on this board. So help us out, May 18th, sign up for the run, and let's help these students in this district.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Scragg. Hopefully better weather than last year. We had some rough weather last year. And thank you for your service on Chef. Ms. Meyer.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ciapetta. I just want to second Mr. Biancasso on congratulating everyone that was part of the Mamma Mia production. It was absolutely fantastic. absolutely loved it, my whole family. And then I also just wanted to wish all of our families that are celebrating the upcoming Passover holiday a very happy Passover. We continue to live in an extremely tense geopolitical environment that's getting more intense and scarier every day. So we hope that for those that are celebrating not only in our district but across the world, that they have a peaceful and happy celebration and get to spend time with family. And we also hope that all of our families that had the opportunity to celebrate Eid this past week had a wonderful celebration as well. We always appreciate the diversity in our community, and we just hope that everyone continues to have peaceful and healthy celebrations.
Thank you, Ms. Meyer. Other comments by board members? A few of my own, just highlight a couple events. It's been a busy time of the year. Was able to attend our senior voter registration drive at Wall Whitman High School, where we registered, I believe, over 360 seniors, some of whom will be eligible to vote on May 21st for the first time at the board election. And we were joined by the representatives of the NAACP and the League of Women Voters. So it was a really democracy in action. It was a great turnout this year, even better than it's been in the past. Also had the opportunity to attend the Social Studies Honor Society, and I really have to say they do a wonderful job with that. Each year they do something a little different, and this year they had awards in each particular subject area keyed to the AP exam. So it was really a very nice and professional ceremony. Also, there was the Night of 1,000 Strings, which was very efficient, 45 minutes, but students from all of our buildings, except the K-2 buildings, participated, and they did really great. It was at the South Gym, and it was packed. And likewise, I echo the thoughts on Mamma Mia. It was probably one of our best shows that we've ever done. It was phenomenal, and we were singing the songs of ABBA all week. So, great job. Dr. D'Elia.
Yes, to echo basically what everybody else is saying, I had the pleasure of being there Saturday afternoon, and it was phenomenal. So Jaron, you and the entire cast, Ms. Turner, everybody, all the adults involved, everybody was raving about it. So a great presentation. Also, if you passed the high school, I'm sure you're seeing progress as far as the bleachers go. Today we had the concession stand and the press box delivered, so one on top of the other. We are definitely getting closer, and we are definitely in good shape come graduation later in June with those new bleachers. So they look fabulous. They're not done. There's more work, a lot of site work that has to be done, but we're looking really, really good, and we absolutely needed them, but they're looking really good. And last but not least, Dr. Murphy made me aware that we are one of the best communities for music education by the NAM Association. So all the hard work of our music staff, we appreciate it, and Dr. Murphy for moving forward with making sure we do get recognized, because the music department does an outstanding job. So we're back as far as one of the best communities for music education, and that is my report.
Thank you, Dr. D'Elia. Oh, one more announcement. Tomorrow, speaking of facilities, we'll be having a ribbon cutting. So if anyone from the board or cabinet wants to join us, 9 a.m. at Wall Whitman High School, we'll be officially opening up our fitness center, which has been very well received so far. Great investment. The student participation in the fitness center is through the roof and up dramatically now that they have a space that's really better organized and clean and cool with air conditioning. So it's been a very good success. Jaron, congratulations. 2 solos too, wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Good evening, everyone. As most of you know, I like to talk about an ideal every time I speak, and tonight is Beyond the Classroom Learning. So Beyond the Classroom Learning, to me, is very important because I think that in addition to academic subjects, really getting that real world experience in school is extremely important. So in South Huntington, Beyond the Classroom Learning is a cornerstone of education, and it enriches students' academic experiences and preparing them for success in a rapidly evolving world. I conducted this study within the district. As you know, I jump around to the different schools, so I got to see this on a different level and in different schemes. For example, at Walt Whitman High School, we have internship programs that provide students with hands-on experience in professional settings, allowing them to explore potential career paths and develop essential workspace skills. Extracurricular activities such as the robotics club, we have a debate team, and this all nurtures students' interests and talents, fostering a sense of passion and purpose beyond academics. Overall, the study that I conducted really showed the importance of beyond the classroom learning in fostering holistic student development. By providing students with opportunities to engage with the world outside of school, educators in our district are empowering them to really become lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and responsible citizens, which I think is very important in having a very productive and great community. So throughout a commitment to experiential learning, the district is equipping students with the skills, knowledge, and values they need to thrive in an increasingly complex global society. So along with my regular high school report, I have the opportunity to spotlight Maplewood. I was able to go over to Maplewood last week, and I thank Dr. Bill Hender and Mrs. Stephanie Villanueva for having me, and of course the student council. They were so fun to talk to, and I had a great time. They were so enthusiastic about Maplewood, and they really have Maplewood pride that shined through the minute I walked in the door. We spoke about different projects we could do, and similar to Birchwood, they would like to do a garden where maybe they grow, even have a farmer's market on the weekends. This is something that we want to evolve in. I spoke to them about, leaving their mark on the school, so they're able to come back and see what they did, and I'm working with both principals right now to make that happen, and I look forward to enhancing that. Over at the high school, we definitely have a lot going on. Like some board members said, thank you everybody for coming out to support the musical. We actually sold out all 3 shows, which I think was I think that's probably the best we've ever done. I also want to highlight Wildcat Way, which is our new street leading up to the high school. I heard there were votes for Murphy Way, but that got shut down really quick. No, I'm just kidding. We are renovating the South Cafeteria, and
that was just sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
That was donated by Highway Superintendent Andre Sorrentino. So thank you for him. I think it looks nice.
and it's a really cool sign too. So if anybody stops by, it's a maroon sign with our logo, and it says Wildcat Way. So I think that's pretty cool. We're also renovating, or in the process of renovating, or starting to renovate the South Cafeteria, and we met with the Principals Leadership Council met with Ms. Sheila Busey last week, and we started picking out palettes. I didn't know I was an interior designer, but apparently that's my new job, right, Dr. Murphy? We're interior designers now. Yeah. But we're trying to come up with a way to make sure that the maturity of the students comes out in the new cafe.
What were some of the recommendations? Ms. Busey updated us a little bit.
So definitely, we want to go for more of a quote unquote Starbucks vibe. So that's darker colors. That's more mature space where people can eat their lunch and also study and maybe relax. We want to keep the modern look. So maybe some like wood paneling, like McDonald's has right down the road. We're ripping up all the new tile and they're putting in all glass facing, so I think that'll look really good. And I thank Miss Busey for all her hard work, and she's really working with the students and listening to them and taking that into account, which I think is really special. Today we had the beautification project outside the PAC. All the flowers and plants look great. Tomorrow night we have the lip sync battle. Please come out to support the senior class. It's $5 to attend. And like Dr. D'Elia said, we have the bleachers. Literally, the press box got put on top of one another today. I think that was the highlight of everybody's day, watching the crane throughout the day. Bring it up, put it down, bring it up, put it down, and then finally it got put on top of each other. Next week, we have the World Language Honor Society induction, along with more society inductions to follow. And that's what's going on at Walt Whitman High School. We're moving along, but definitely a busy schedule. And thank you, everyone.
Very busy. Thank you, Jared. Great report. A lot going on. Also, I forgot to mention one other thing that happened. We haven't met in so long. A lot happened in between. We also had Unity Day a couple weekends ago. It was the first time in April and it went as well as it could, even though it was probably like 20 degrees out. It was freezing, but we had good attendance among our elected officials. And the day prior to that, or a couple days prior to that, we were joined by Suffolk County Sheriff Errol Toulon, who spoke to our students at Maplewood, our 5th grade students, and he was a wonderful speaker, very impressive resume, and just a great communicator, compassionate, and he did great with the students. He opened it up to questions, and he got about 100, including whether he liked donuts or not. So he did not like donuts. So. And all right. Moving on, voice of the residents. Anyone like to address time for the public to speak? Anyone like to address the Board of Education? All right, saying that, I will take a motion to return to executive session to discuss matters of personnel and student disciplinary matters as well. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Mr. Scraggs, seconded by Mr. Bronson. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you all. See you on May 7th. Have a nice break. Yeah, I usually park in the circle.